Thank you very much, and I'm really happy to be here and see that we have such an active community in ETSI and in the SNS project. I have created the slides some time ago, and I will try to combine the things that I have heard the previous days in the presentations with things that are happening now in the Smart Networks and Services joint undertaking. We had the presentation from the Executive Director, Mrs. Elizabeth Fitori, and from Pavlos Fournogerakis, the Deputy Head of Program. I think that you all know that there is this joint undertaking, which is well underway, and we are very happy on the achievements that we have. I'm representing in this partnership the private side, and I know that several of you already know the Six Industry Associations and you are members. For those that you are not aware, the Six Industry Association is a not-for-profit organization with 370 approximately members from all areas, from large industry, academia, SMEs, research centers. You see that we have quite a spike of members that have joined us in the past years. So. And we are quite proud to say that we are the voice of the European industry for research and innovation for smart networks and services. What I want to say is the following. The open solutions is something that is of key importance for the private side in Europe. We have already had some published white papers about the key strategies, and as you will see here, three of the topics that we have identified as quite important are open SNS solutions, especially focusing on open RAN solutions, but not only that. The discussion about the cloudification and what Europe should be doing in terms of cloud and telco cloud in particular, and this is common knowledge that in Europe we are lagging behind compared to other regions. So, because of the changing geopolitical situation, this is something that we need to take into consideration and try to come up with some European solutions that will give more flexibility and more weight to Europe. Apart from that, network intelligence is also an area where openness should be considered. And of course, there are some other areas that we have identified as key strategies. Now, the table that you see here, it's simply indicative, and during these days I have gathered information for a number of other open activities, especially those under the umbrella of ETSI, which is quite good. Several of these, as you all heard already, have started from 5G PPP projects, and now they continue in the SNS projects. There is some coverage in all the domains of the network, from RAN, transport, for platforms, for the core network, and for the services. And we see that it's quite important in terms of research and innovation to have all these different activities. Of course, the question is how we can combine these kind of things. And at the end of the day, how we could target to have solutions to be used in an operational environment. So if the SNSJU is going to be successful, the key target that we have is that by the end of the SNSJU, solutions related to 6G and, for example, telco cloud or disaggregated RAN architectures will have some European solutions that will have impact in standardization, ETSI, 3GPP, etc. There is always, I think we opened the discussion like that in the first day. What is open networks? And what are open solutions? And sometimes there is some misunderstanding. Some people discuss about open source, some other people discuss about interfaces. First of all, whatever it is standardized, like in 3GPP, and we standardize the interfaces, by definition it's something that gives some openness and some interoperability. At the same time, we have seen that there are several open source solutions that are quite active, and they are producing very promising results. And there is always a balance that we need to keep in mind. So how much open we want to have the networks and how much we want to accommodate proprietary solutions. The thing is that if you go full open source, you are killing innovation, and you cannot have everything fully open and have fully open source on all the aspects. On the other hand, if we follow trends in openness, in terms of interfaces, additional interfaces, or in terms even of open source solutions, then we can have something stable and impactful for solutions to be used by operational networks in the near future. In the strategic document that we have done, we have created a number of recommendations. So the recommendations that we have in mind is, for example, that we need to have, the level of maturity right now to go for an operational solution, we are not still there. So there is a lot of work to be done. And also we need to have widely accepted results about how open we should be and how restricted we should be in a number of topics. So this needs extra research activities, extra experimentation, have the results, and try to provide these solutions for the key stakeholders. And the ecosystems that we have created jointly with academia research centers and, of course, the large industry and the SMEs should be able to have an ambitious and fruitful collaboration in terms of R&I in Europe. Standardization is of paramount importance. I was really happy to see in presentations that you have already results, even in the morning, contributions to 3GPP that have been accepted. So these are clear wins in terms of what the SNS is doing and what 5GPP did in the past. And this shows how successful an R&I program in Europe can be. But the work is far from being completed, and extra activities, and this is something that we always focus in the SNS work program, the R&I work program, that we need to continue. I would like to mention especially the telco cloud activities. As you know, there are already ongoing activities in Europe. There is the IPCCIS, where I think, if I'm not mistaken, there are 12 member states participating with key stakeholders, trying to provide specific examples and provide software which is based on open source, like Silva or Nephew that we were listening yesterday, just to mention a couple of them, and how this can be used to provide solutions that are going to be used by operational networks. At the same time, you all have seen the 3C Connected Cooperative and Computing Networks, a white paper published by the public side by DG Connect on the ambition to create something in the scope of Cluster 4. At the same time, in the SNS, just a heads up, there's going to be a call dedicated to telco cloud, especially for 6G networks and telco cloud. So IPCCIS and Cluster 4 mainly are dealing for high TRL results for 5G, beyond 5G, taking into consideration, taking advantage of existing activities, as I was saying, like Silva or Open Slice, it could be, or any open activities that could provide a solution for Europe. And at the same time, in parallel, the target in the SNS work program is to do similar things for 6G and telco cloud, because you may ask, what is the difference in this? 6G, we have a new architecture coming up, although it's going to be simplified or whatever, but we are having activities about the further evolution of the SBA. There are new characteristics like deterministic networking, there is the joint communication and sensing, there is the full native AI support end-to-end in all these activities. So we are trying to have a coherent program, taking advantage of the funding that we have in Europe in various funding instruments, IPCCIS, Cluster 4, and the SNS. It's quite important to have well-defined interfaces and enable the cloud interoperability. And additionally, there could be the need, although 3GPP has been quite active, for example, developing interfaces that could be used potentially for AI. For example, the NWAF, as it started 5 years ago, or something like that, and how it has evolved with the subsequent releases has been quite important, but still there could be a good opportunity to identify what is still missing and what we can further do in order to combine the cloud continuum, core cloud, edge cloud, etc., with the AI. And this requires some good definition. Of course, when we are discussing about cloud, some of the things, and 3GPP is doing a fantastic work, in my humble opinion, because they have clearly defined what is in scope of 3GPP and what is not in scope of 3GPP. The thing is how we can combine the missing part of 3GPP with other activities and how we can take advantage of the well-defined architecture of beyond 5G so far by 3GPP and eventually the 6G architecture. When we are discussing about AI and we are discussing about openness, one of the important things is, and it's open for discussion if you feel differently. When we are discussing about AI, in order to have results that are widely accepted, we need to have some data sets that can be used for fine-tuning simulators, training models, and these kind of things. Something that we can use as benchmarking. And this requires the commitment from the whole community. And this is something that we always take into consideration, and we ask and encourage the projects in the SNSJU to provide this kind of solution. Actually, quite recently there is a project that has been selected dedicated to AI, and one of the activities it will try to do is to try to harmonize and take advantage of the existing results and produce additional for example, data sets that will be used in the future to test and evaluate AI solutions. So, moving on. I have created these slides before the US elections. And I'm saying this because just 1 year ago, together with ATIS, the 6G Industry Association, had discussion about potential strategic cooperation between the EU and US. So, of course, between like-minded countries like the United States of America and Europe. We have done a lot of work to identify, and we have identified 6 areas for collaboration, potential collaboration. The reason that I'm showing these slides to you is that open solution is a key part of this. I have been participating in some conferences taking place in the US in the past weeks, and I can tell you that there is a strong push in the States about, for example, Open RAN. At the same time, there is a strong push from Europe for other open source solutions in terms of telco cloud. So this is something that it's not only us in Europe that we consider this important, it's taking place also in other areas. And of course, we have identified where this collaboration between EU and US could take place. I will not go into the details of this. I would simply like to summarize and give the floor to the next speakers, saying the following. In the Smart Networks and Services Joint Undertaking, the topic of openness and open source and the definition of interfaces is of key priority. Already, we have several projects active, and with the new ones that overall it's going to be something like 80 projects that are going to be running in the beginning of 2025. There are discussions about new interfaces in all domains, new disaggregated solutions, telco cloud solutions. We have already results on intelligent components and how these can work together, and of course we have a number of testbeds and platforms. And of course we do the best that we can to, as I was saying before, to have a harmonized and concrete plan taking into consideration other activities that take place in Europe. So what I can tell you also is that the white paper that has been provided by the public side about the 3C networks, we have a start with this new white paper, but I can tell you that there is a strategic working group in the SNSJU, including key stakeholders, and in the next few months you will be seeing some ideas and plans on how we can move forward. So things have already happened, things are progressing, and there are activities already ongoing to have a very specific plan to maximize the impact of the results of the different EC funding instruments and have impactful results. I would like to close saying that I was really excited to see all the activities again that we have seen these past 2 days. They are quite relevant. I think the challenge is to some extent to see how we can have them working together in a seamless way and in a way that is going to be sustainable from a business perspective. So these results should be used at the end of the day somehow. With this, I stop here. I'm open for any questions that you may have.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Alexandros.